Hello.
Okay, welcome to the podcast. There isn't one book, one author mantra. It is a singular honor, privilege. In fact, I feel very amazed podcast tonight. Christine, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. And you could call me, it's Christine Conforti. And you could call me, whatever you want. You could call me Christine, Chrissy, whatever.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. So, podcast is designed to help make a committed reader out of every global person. I'd like you to tell us about yourself, Conforti, author.
I started reading when I was very little. In our schools, it was a big thing, and we had certain programming. You wanted to compete like with the other students, I guess. Maybe that's why I liked reading so much. I don't know. But I think it gets easier if you read from the very beginning of your life and you really put that effort in, because at the beginning you might think, oh my God, how am I going to do that? I got so many things to do. But you have to make time for it, because the there's amazing amount of information out there, and you want to be able to access it from different areas, and what we have online, you might not find it. You might find other kind of things that will get you involved with all the things that don't really matter, and you want to find out some real stuff. You want to get to the meat and the bones.
Yeah, yeah, wow. That's beautiful. So I can imagine that at the age of 60, you've been a reader for a greater part of your life.
Right, about 55 years.
Wow, wow. So at what point, because I understand that being a reader, being an having an elliptical reader, I understand that there is a point in your life when you realize that reading felt like the greatest investment, like the only way you could invest in yourself. So, at what point did you have this awakening and awareness that, oh, it was just what I was doing to entertain myself? Like you said, you understood that there was so much information in the books, Eden, and you realized that, man, this was going to take you so far, so long. So I'd like you to share the story with your audience.
Well, I mean, American schools, they teach you to read right away, and it was always an enjoyable thing, and reading casually. But because we go to school for so long in our life, you take it for granted. So I cannot pretend that I was reading outside of school much. I mean, I did, though. I did, because I always was looking for things. But I'm just, I'm going to have to be humble about the way I say that, because I know people that read, like, several books a week at my
Yeah,
same, a teenager, and I didn't do that.
yeah,
So I will say that I've been reading all along, always looking for things that are, important, in terms of what matters to me first. But
yeah,
as older, and especially as I was trying to do an art project in my community, I was
yeah,
bringing this to the community, and I had to do research a lot. So this is where
yeah,
you're reading out of necessity.
yeah.
But it's really good to try to make it a practice of just reading all the time, because oh my God, there's no end to the amazing amount of information out there.
Relatable, sure. Relatable, affirmative, sure. I can agree because myself, English language is not my first language, and for a greater part of my life, I was spelled and I was taught around English language, but as simple and as easier to be, I never think, and I still don't think I have great command of English language. But the one testimony I have as a reader is that it has helped me change my horizon, especially when I'm rereading some great books I've read once or twice. So I now believe that I see myself in a whole new dimension. Horizon has expanded, and I'm not the person I used to be. I'm not that old reader I was. But it could take me a longer time to finish a book, to finish reading the book, but I'm always committed to finishing the book and also starting a review. So I am sure your feelings and your wordings are relatable, very
Well,
relatable.
I really like what you've said there. That that you're changing as a person when you read. Literally, it'll change you. That's why you want to read, and that's a fantastic thing as a as a teacher, for you to say that to us. That's fantastic, and I agree that when you read something that's profound, it will stick with you and it will change the way you think, and that's good.
Yeah,
Also,
yeah,
you have to be careful. You have to be careful because one thing that you have discussed with me already in our short friendship, Nyong,
yeah, yeah,
um, you said that you are what you eat. Well,
yeah,
this is
cool.
important across all realms. You are what you eat. So when you read, it's the same thing. You are eating it. You are taking it
Yeah,
in. So you
yeah,
have to be careful of what you eat. Not. I shouldn't say careful, because if you're a good thinker, you'll use your critical thinking, and you'll be able to look at what you're reading and stay far away enough from it that you won't let
yeah,
it make you think in ways that don't work well.
yeah.
Do you know what I
True.
mean?
Yeah, true. This is one of the reasons why we're trying to build this podcast lifestyle and culture. They find it very easy. Like, I mean, having an elliptical reader, they find it very easy to get into an archives, like the NLP we talked about. Now, they find it very hard to come archives. You got what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like it's easy for you to see a young person because maybe they have a love for a love on dying a love witchcraft, sorcery, probably werewolf, vampires. And in Africa, we have this sort of belief about black witchcraft. And thank God you're a spiritual leader, a spiritual author. Then this makes you an authority as far as spiritual education is concerned. So we have a lot of archives, and they have difficulties coming out of such archives, especially readers too. So, what would you have to say? Because, like, I'm trying to paraphrase what you said earlier. How would I have to help myself to make sure that I probably, through by mistake, I've bumped into an information that is way bigger than myself, that is way bigger than my horizon? And how do I get to compute myself in a way that I still be myself, person? I think that's what
Well,
you want
I
to do.
this is excuse me, I'm cutting you off there, but wow, that is such an important
Your
concept.
volume,
And
your volume. Take it out.
oh, okay,
Beautiful.
wow.
Yeah, it's loud and clear now. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Okay, sure, you
Go.
can hear me now.
Yeah, I can. I can.
Okay.
Give us clarity. Give us clarity.
Okay, so it's very interesting what you are getting at here, and I can get into some things. If I were to go and cite things out of the Bible, I could tell you about like this idea of witchcraft, demons, and uh, divination, they call it,
Yeah. Yeah.
spells and stuff like that. Um, Without even
Yeah.
talking about that, we could do a whole podcast on that. Let's just stick
Yeah.
to something very common, right? This is for somebody who doesn't use the Bible, who doesn't believe in anything. Just
Yeah.
think, there
Yeah. Yeah.
are things, are
Cheers.
dark things
Yeah.
out there. And if you just, when you do bad,
Yeah.
what is going to happen when you do
Yeah.
bad? Oh, bad things are going to come to you. I mean,
yeah,
you don't really have to believe in anything to know that that is really
yeah.
the truth.
Cause and
Um,
effect, cause and effect. Yeah,
I'm, you
cause and
know, and
effect.
now I'm gonna say something opposite. Okay, so this will
Okay.
help those people that go, wait a minute, wait a minute. What about all these people that have done terrible things and they live great lives and they never get caught? Well,
Yeah,
you are correct. You are correct. Sometimes bad people, they don't get caught and they live okay. They're happy. They look happy. But I don't
yeah,
know. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe that they're happy. I don't believe that they will ever be happy. I believe that they're
yeah,
probably tormented at nighttime in their sleep. So let's
yeah,
just talk about you and me, where we
yeah,
know that if we do bad, we don't feel right. So that's the
yeah,
same when you're
yeah,
reading something and it's
yeah,
leading you into a spot, into a space,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it doesn't sit in your stomach the right way. Your
yeah,
stomach, your inside is telling you
yeah,
something.
yeah,
And so what you need to do then is start separating yourself from the words and say, hey, you know what? I'm
yeah,
reading because I'm learning. But
yeah.
this reading here will have no power over me because I am the one who has the power. And
True.
I believe in God. So God has the most power.
Yeah.
And I will ask God for my protection. So if you
Because
don't, if you believe in nothing, you can
yeah,
believe that you are powerful enough not to go
yeah,
down the wrong road.
yeah. Wow, wow, beautiful, beautiful. Wow, this is so amazing. This is just so amazing. And this is
Let's talk more about spells.
okay. Okay,
Okay.
go
When I
on,
was
go on.
younger, when I was younger, my mother,
Yeah,
she always told us, "Oh, what you think about, this is what you will become.
yeah,
If you think you're great, you'll be great. If you
yeah,
think you're kind, you're going to be kind. If you think you're
yeah,
bad, you're not going to do well in life because you don't necessarily have to do bad, but
yeah,
you're not going to feel good enough to do what you can do and what you can become.
yeah,
You won't recognize in yourself your own gifts, your own blessings.
yeah.
So
Beautiful.
you want to be careful of the words that you speak,
Yeah,
and that definitely when you're reading, that you read outside of your word, the words there. You be careful. You say, hey, do I
yeah,
trust what I'm reading right now?
yeah,
Do I trust this? Does this true? Does this ring true to
yeah,
me?
yeah,
And sometimes you can be fooled because yeah, hey, anybody who wants you to do something they're usually a good salesman, and they'll
yeah,
they'll make it sound so good, and you'd be like, yeah, oh, that sounds so great, and then you could be
yeah,
led off into the wrong direction. So but I do not like when I hear, oh, we don't let them read this book or that book. Children under 18, yes, you do not let them read everything. That's just the way it should be. But when you get to be
yeah,
an adult, I believe that
yeah,
you should be able to read anything you want to read, and you
yeah.
decide. You use your critical thinking.
Wow, wow. This is just so amazing. Very amazing. So this is the point where I ask you, what do you think, how would you feel if you were not a reader? How would you think your life would have turned out to be? I like to be thrilled with your imaginations.
Well, it's very hard to know, but I would believe that I would be a very simple person. Maybe I would be more in tune with the earth. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? Because you won't have the magic of the words, but you're going to
Yeah.
have the magic of your surroundings. What
Now,
else?
here is where I have to say, I have to bow in humility that this is what makes you a spiritual teacher, a spiritual student. I like to use your words because you said you're also a student and you have your time to read your Bible every other time. And if you look at the Bible, because the foundation for personifying your struggles, your tribes, your strives, and you would realize the renewing your mind.
Well, if you have grown up in the United States as I
Yeah,
did in the 60s and 70s and then the 80s, they made us feel embarrassed to be talking about the Bible or Christianity. And I went to
wow,
Catholic school my life, so
wow.
I never denied anything because I just can't help myself. I wouldn't know the world without God, so I can't help right now. I'm done. I'm in it, you know.
Yeah,
But as far as the Bible goes, lately in my life, and I just want to share this because I was not very good at reading the Bible in the past. I went to Catholic school all my life. I heard the teachings, but I did not have good teachers, not always. So I
yeah,
had to just hear the words, and sometimes I didn't understand the words. And I'll give
yeah,
you an example right now. I'm
yeah,
reading the book of Joshua. Oh my God. I mean, forgive me, Lord, right? Why is God telling Joshua to go out and kill all these people? Like, what? I'm like, no, I can't understand. This is
yeah,
why you need a teacher who can help
yeah,
you, walk you through. And
yeah,
I suggest that you can start from the beginning in the
yeah,
Genesis. I'm
yeah.
only I would say I'm in Genesis for like 3 years now, just reading that.
Wow,
Does that make
wow.
sense? No, it doesn't
Sure,
make sense.
sure, it
But it
does. It does. It does. Because if you look at the Bible, if you look at the Bible, this part of the Bible that I so love about the Bible. Now, let me use Moses. Moses is the first learned Israelite. Would you agree?
oh, it's fascinating. Yes, I guess I agree with that. Yeah,
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, looking at his
he
and
became the prime minister, right? Like a prime minister, he was like the highest level
yes,
to.
exactly, exactly. But looking at his and that's the glory in his story. Now, if you look at the situation surrounding his birth, if you look at his community, his family, if you look at his own unit, you would realize that he is in a strange place. He's born under certain conditions, and he's born at a very trying time where his people are about to lose their own culture, their own people, unless they give in. And that is why there is a Miriam is talking to Pharaoh's daughter at the river's bank. She says, I would go find someone to look after this kid. Now, now you see, she would go find someone. Now, meaning that she would find someone amongst this Keith and Cain, though this boy might be born and be trained the fair way, but you will always need to know his identity. Now, if you history, this is about religious history. Now, if you look about the history, you would realize that Moses was the first person to write, but he's the first man book and explained what this book can do. That's what this book is about, and we call it the book of the law, the book of the law. In the book of the law, it's 5 books: the Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and the Deuteronomy. You would realize it's just a story of people, a story of creation. But yet, Moses is the first person to pen it down. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And that is something that we can see. That is something we can picture. And you would realize that there are people who will language too, but they will never have abundant thought and clarity to pin it down the way Moses did. So, looking at Moses' story and every other great person, great Bible person, you see that it's always about era, 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 time, time. And that's what into your podcast, see you as a coach, a minister, a teacher who is offering to take people out of this Egypt. So, author, I like you to continue. I was just trying to let you know that Moses, okay, like another person, this person in Acts chapter 7, when Festus is saying, he said, "Oh, Paul, too much reading, I've made you mad." Can you relate?
Oh, wow.
and
Yes.
and and there's this also, and there's also this story that someone is reading some way and is having mad difficulties understanding and is praying for the Holy Spirit, and someone who is so conversant with the language is passing by, and this person gives this person clarity. Those stories are all wrapped up to showcase and teach us, the Corinth people of this era, that hey, look, the Messiah lives among you. That's how I relate. Because if you look at Jeremiah, the major prophets now, if you look at Jeremiah will tell you, I am only just a boy, my own. If you look at Ezekiel, hey Ezekiel, can this dry bone live? Ezekiel will be like, oh, only God you know. If you look at Isaiah, you always be like, thus says the Lord, thus says the Lord. And if you look at John the Baptist, the modern prophet in the New Testament, you would hear words like, I'm baptizing you and preparing you for he that is yet to come. And these are all words of prophecy. And when you look at Jeremiah chapter 29, there is something like, for I know the thoughts I have towards you, the evil, to give you an expected end. But what you can also see that from the minor prophet, the major prophet, to the new prophet of the Bible, like people like John the Baptist, you would realize that this man always had a teacher.
I see, this is such an important thing.
Yeah,
So I, oh boy, I, I'm not going to tell names. I will say this.
yeah,
Recently, now I am 60 years old, and I
yeah,
went to someone and important to me, and I said,
yeah,
oh, I want to find a common thing to talk to this person because I love them so much and I'm not getting along with them. I mean, I get along with everybody, but this, my family member, I can't get along with them. I said, wow, I'm so in pain. So please, what do you think to this person? I say, here's something that I know you love. Look, I was exploring. What do you think? They look at what I showed them and they laughed at me. And they said, oh,
yeah,
you're ridiculous. How foolish you are to read this and to listen to this. This is nonsense. And I was confused. And so I cried, and because I thought it was going to be something we could come together on. So the next
yeah,
thing I said, well, what do you think? If you don't think this is the right teacher for me, you be my teacher or tell me who to go to. And this
yeah,
person said, oh, just use your own brain, think for yourself.
yeah,
And you know what? That's not it. You can't you can't think in a vacuum. I mean,
yeah,
all kind of thoughts could come to my mind that might not be,
yeah,
exactly right. But when I talk it through, now
yeah,
I get more and I get more, and I say, now I can really use my critical thinking better. You
yeah,
need you need help. You need your community.
yeah.
Yeah.
Go
I
on.
know you don't want blank space there. Don't have any blank space in that podcast. Don't let it drop.
Yeah, I'm listening. Go on, go on. Give me clarity. Throw more
Yeah,
light.
it's so exciting. If anybody ever experienced something where God gives you a little sign, and when I was younger, I started to
Yeah,
think, oh, I'm making this up. It's not true. How could this be a sign? That be a sign? Everything is a sign. You know what?
yeah,
There's no
yeah,
accidents. There's no accidents. And
yeah,
if I go on a podcast with you, every time I
yeah.
get on a podcast with you, I can tell you of another sign that I had. So
Wow.
don't don't take a sign for granted. Follow the sign, and you're gonna be so excited because you're gonna say, "This is crazy. Life is amazing. I got signs. I got signs."
Wow. Oh, Wow. My spirit has been so lifted personally on this podcast. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Wow. The legend of the season, magic of the pills, Christine Conforti. Tell me about this best selling book you wrote about the seven historical fiction and about this book. Tell us about your books and your
Oh,
writing career so far.
it was categorized for teenagers, historical fiction, but I based the story on a picture, a photo I took many years ago, like 2005 or earlier. It was this weird thing that came in the bottom of this water. We have a waterfall, and it was this weird white circle in the bottom in the picture. I said, "Whoa, what is this?" And it stuck with. So some years later, I was always involved in my community, always giving back to my community. And I gave, they asked me, "Hey, can you bring the artists together?" Because I had this arts organization. And can you guys be involved with our annual Christmas uh, parade? And I always participated with my artists. And I said, "Of course." So, all right, well, this year our theme is the legend of the seasons. And I said, "Oh, well, I'm not going to get dressed up like Frosty the Snowman or, something like this. I'm going to do
Yeah,
something that has meaning to my community. I want to tell a story." And this
yeah,
is why you could be a writer, because you want to tell stories that have meaning. And every story is different. And so I went sleep and I woke up with an idea, and I took the picture of the little circle, and I made a story up all about this pearls that were in the
wow,
bottom of the came from the waterfall, and
wow,
how this lady, she went with her pearls and crushed the pearls and gave the drink of the pearls to the sick, because there was a virus going killing everybody. And
yeah,
she saved the North America, she saved the world from the
yeah,
virus with her
yeah,
magical pearl.
wow,
But I told you that I did not want it to be just her by herself being the hero. I wanted
yeah,
her
yeah,
I wanted her to be supported by her husband. And they
then,
did. And in the book, they face, death. They face hanging for doing this, for saving they would have been called witches. So they needed each other, and they worked together, and they saved everybody. But
wow,
it is a story. It has a sad ending, but it's a beautiful ending, I think. And
yeah,
again, it was made for the public and mostly for teenagers and older, but not just for teenagers. I believe adults will like it as well. And I painted 26 paintings to go in the
wow,
in the book.
wow, wow. The legend of the season. Wow, you're an amazing mind, and I like to tell you that I have an amazing encounter in moment, like right now. I feel so thrilled. I feel so honored to have an amazing mind like you on the podcast this very moment.
Well, I
You're
thank you, because I'm humbled by your response to me, and I'm so excited to be here.
thank you. Thank you. So here is where I like you to talk our audience about your yearnings, your cravings, your needs of wanting to build a very big cathedral with all of them full inside of you can just get to relate and help them accomplish the life they want to lead by simply taking them by your hands.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, I am a very, I got to use the word humble again. So I
Yeah.
always begin from nothing. That's how I wrote my book. That's my first book. I've written
Yeah.
several things now already, but I always begin from the very smallest increment that is possible, which is my hands.
Yeah.
And first my
Remind us.
hand, converting the hands then to the writing, or the that as a
Yeah.
craft, right? So
yeah,
I'm an artist. I paint, I write, I make things. I am out there planting things. And one of the things that I was doing with young people was to show them that when you plant a seed, something grows. So this is a
yeah,
metaphor that translates into all of life. And I have been planting many, many seeds. And I want to be honest with everybody. Please understand, I am not a rich woman. And I will tell you, I had much more money, but I tried some things that they didn't work out. So some
yeah,
people would say, "Oh, you failed, huh? You failed." And
yeah,
sometimes I feel like I failed sometimes, but I
yeah,
actually don't always feel like that. Most of the time, I feel
yeah,
like, "Oh no, nothing is lost. Nothing is
yeah,
lost. I'm still on my way. I'm still
yeah.
on my way." Are always on your way. If you're breathing and walking and thinking, you're always on the way, and you can always
Wow,
get somewhere
wow,
new.
wow, wow, wow. And the Bible said that ye may know him and the power of his resurrection. In the book of Psalms, he said he powers no foe can withstand. I trust the Lord of faith, because when John C. Maxwell wrote the book Falling Forward, man, I had my own aha moment like Oprah Winfrey too, because I had an encounter. My was humbled by an opportunity to see myself, my failures, my mistakes, my lessons, and move on as they are and as they were. Just lessons. And of course, it also shaped my horizon to see and appreciate my beginning, the days of my apprentice, and growing into a professional today, or probably a master in these other things. These are things shows that I have been humbled to the process. And so for you, being a Christian writer, I like to say that because about unity, you talked about helping other people achieve, like when you talked about in your story that you wanted the wife to succeed, but apart from the fact that you wanted the wife to succeed, you want the father, the husband, to also be a major contribution to that success. So here is where I like to ask you, as a person and as an author, where you're announcing your authorhood as an authority to shape humanity, how do you get to see how we can make reading, studying, researching, education as a fun thing for every young person, especially on this area, since we are on the tour?
uh, how do we make it fun?
Do you think we can make studying fun for everyone? Yeah, yeah.
Well, everything I do, I try to make it fun. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you know the movie with like Mary Poppins? It's an American movie.
Go on.
Yeah,
What is
she's maybe not Mary Poppins. The other one, The Sounds of Music. I don't know. These two movies are similar in that there's somebody in there. The
yeah.
female figure comes and she shows the children how to have fun. And even in other movies, children movies, they have like songs
Okay,
like
okay. High school musical.
Oh yeah,
Um,
okay,
yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah. Yeah,
I'm
I remember a
uh,
childhood memory of such movie. I can relate. Yeah.
right. Like I'm thinking of this song. It goes, "Whistle while you work, la da da
Wow.
da da
Mm,
dum," and
mm,
and and then they have this theme over and over in many many movies, children movies,
wow.
and
Wow.
this is very important. That's why they tell you, don't do a job that or don't go to work. Do something you love, and you will never work.
True. True.
So
I'm a living.
now,
I'm a living testimony.
right now, how do we make writing and reading something to be loved? And I
Yeah.
guess it's the approach and the attitude that the teacher takes to the thing. Because if I sit there and I go, okay, now get your books out and just you guys read for 5 minutes, that's not going to help. So with my grandchildren, like I get into reading and I get the characters and I make the voices and I make characters talk to each other. And then when we're not reading and we're just playing, I'm doing the same thing. I'm like, my hands, my little fingers are talking to each other. Oh, I don't want to go there yet, please. Oh, why don't you eat that food? No, I don't want to. It makes me, like, I don't know. I do little funny things. I do this on purpose. And trust me, it is exhausting.
Yeah.
It is hard. You have to have energy to do it. Sometimes I'm not full of energy. I'm 60 years old. But I
Yeah.
know that I show my babies how to
Yeah.
have fun, how to make it to be fun, to do the things that we don't want to do, but that we need to do.
Yeah.
Eventually, things
Yeah.
will become beloved.
Wow. 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 You're a bobbin of creative, a writer, a painter, and well, I think you're just so big an asset for a community of readers like ours. And being a professional or a minister, as far as spiritual education is concerned, I'm very sure that any person who comes in contact with you must surely always have an encounter, because the energy, it is the passion. It's amazing having you on this podcast. And September was the month to be remembered, and it's just so privileged and an amazing moment for me on here.
Okay, now I lost.
I'd like to ask you. You've been in the judiciary.
Okay, I lost you a little there.
You got, okay, you got what I said? I said you've been in the judiciary. You were in the judiciary.
Yes, I worked 22 years in the courthouses in my
Wow.
community, and before that, I worked for the city doing a gardening project and arts. Put them together. It was like directing something there. I mentioned these two things because I wanted to take care of practical matters. I
Yeah.
had been an artist and I wasn't earning enough money to take care of
Yeah.
myself, my family. And I
Yeah.
wasn't good at figuring that out. And sometimes you're not. Sometimes you don't know how. So you
Yeah.
might have to do a job that you
Yeah.
don't like. You might have to do the job. But if you go to work and you whistle while you work, which is what I did,
Yeah.
I made the best of it. I made the best of it, and I worked for many years. Now, I liked things about what we were doing, and I
Yeah.
also did not always like what I saw. But in
Yeah.
general, I felt like I was contributing something. If I
Wow.
wasn't, I would not have done the job.
Yeah, wow, wow, beautiful, beautiful. Because I was in my diploma days in school. I was lucky to also be a judge in the student union government, a deputy chief registrar of the school, and I studied engineering as at that level. And I was so privileged to have the abundant words of the courtroom and in my daily living. So I realized that this gave me a platform to read more people's cases, to investigate, like you said, practical energies. Practical. So I realized that there were reforms, like in the school union system, there were reforms that I ought to have advanced or probably advocate for, but most times the system is so porous and rigid that you can't actually get your voice heard. So I like to ask you: did you encounter such blogs in your own career path, and would you recommend or would you give testimony? Like, would you say it was the books I was reading, it was the research I was doing, and that was getting me closer to the result I needed? What would you want to say? Down, this is me trying to get you to give praises to the very habit of reading understand that they will always become the food they eat. Go on.
Yes, I mean, because of the things that I was exposed to as far as spirituality and the things that I had read in earlier in my life, and then having been schooled, I went to Catholic school and Christian school all through till I graduated university.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have this background there. And then I go into the community as my first thing that I want to do is to work with my community and to
Yeah.
show them, oh, this is how you make theater, because I like theater and this is what I do. So if I was just not a theater person and I was just a painter, I would have gone to the community as just that or whatever. But as a theater artist, I mean, you paint and you sing and you dance and you build things and you just do everything. Otherwise, you can't do anything.
Yeah.
So I was showing kids how to do all kind of things. And
Yeah.
you wouldn't believe, but I went to a person and asked them, oh, I'm struggling. I need a job. I'm not doing well as far as getting money for arts and things like this. I got some commissions, but not enough money. And he said, well, just why don't you go to the city and just make an offer? Tell them you'll do something, And I did. I went as a volunteer and I then
Wow.
became hired by the city.
Wow.
And
Wow.
from there, the probation division saw what I was doing, and they said, "Oh man, we want you on our team." And then I got hired there. And I'm a very humble person, so I was like, I wasn't even applying for the job because I didn't think I would even get the job because I didn't think
Wow.
I was good enough.
Wow. Wow. So you're a self-taught and a self-committed long learner. And this is what makes you an asset to this community and the lifestyle you're trying to build.
So wait, I think I lost you again there. I'm lost you. I can't hear you. Now let's see. I'm still hanging on. I'm not going to hang up until you let me know, okay?